Alright, welcome back. So in this video we're going to look at Flexbox, how we can use Flexbox to our advantage. So we'll explain a little bit about CSS and then we'll move into Flexbox. So from what we have here, if we reload this page, everything that we did here now will disappear and everything will return back to their default because we didn't apply this inside the code. So let's just refresh everything back to their normal. Alright, so let's go back to our sheet. We have basis of, so I believe you've understood what box model is all about. So knowing that every element has what margin, that's the box model. Look at this box model, it has a margin, has a border, has a padding. All right, so every element on the HTML is just like a rectangle, right? It has a padding, and the padding is the space between the border of that element and the first child or the element that is inside it, right? And then the border is actually the line that demarcates that element from other elements. Then the margin is the space from the border of that element to, the space you give from the border of the element to the next element on the list. So that is all about the box model. All right, and then you know that elements can be display inline or display block. So block elements want to occupy the entire space by themselves, while inline elements don't mind sharing. For instance, the strong tag and the span elements, they want to share, the image tag they want to share, but paragraph division headings, they want to be on their own. They want to occupy the entire line. Even if the text is so short, it doesn't care. It wants to occupy the entire line. All right? Okay. So with that out of the way, then we have CSS. Now CSS, in the last video we touched a little bit on CSS by applying some styles to the stuff. Now most times you don't do HTML without having CSS, very close by to get what you want. Okay. CSS, cascading style sheet, is a style sheet language that is used for adding styles to your HTML. HTML deals mainly with structure. It deals mainly with structure, while CSS deals with the appearance. It deals with the styling, the appearance that you want your stuff to have. Okay. Now in CSS we have inline CSS, we have internal CSS and external CSS. Inline CSS is when you have a style attribute right on the element. So let's say I want to change this div now to display. Let's say this display inline. So I add the style I want right on the element as it is here. So if I go to the browser, refresh, the division is now inline. Now this is called inline CSS, not because I have it as inline here. That's not it. So I can have it as, I can even change the color to red. It doesn't, it just changes the color of the content to red. So that is what I'm just talking about. So the inline CSS is talking about just adding the style you want directly on the elements as you're writing the code. Now we have internal CSS. Internal CSS is when you write the code you want for the style sheet you want, maybe at the head region. Most times you write it at the head region. Even though it can appear anywhere, it can still be here. I can still have another style. Can have another style tag here. It will still work, and anything I apply here will still affect the entire page. But most times you have it at the very top, right? You have it at the very top, and then you have all the definitions you want inside it, like this. All the styles you want to be inside it. And then the third one is external, like the one we saw when you want to, at the beginning, using link to bring in this thing, style sheets. Using link href, you put the link to the style sheet, link to style sheet .css, maybe rel of style sheets, all that. So this is called external CSS. So external is when you want to link to an external CSS file, not the one you wrote inside the code. So we'll not be dealing with external CSS. You can check up other tutorials on that. What we'll be dealing with here is mainly the internal CSS, internal and inline CSS. Just want to get a concept of Flexbox and all that. So we don't really need something very complex here right now. So let me remove this. Okay, so that is it for that. So CSS is used to apply styles to your page, right? Use CSS to apply styles to your page. Now, in the last video, we saw that most elements, or the most elements that we have on the page are display block elements. Now, we can force them to become inline by applying a display flex to their parent container, right? So, for instance, we have here now we have the body. The body is like the parent container of this one, because remember that these ones are direct children of the body tag. So h1 is under body directly, same thing for h2 and all that. So let's say I apply a style on the body and call it display flex, right? So display flex on the body will automatically cause it to make everything to become, flex, to become inline. So all the elements in the parent flex automatically will become inline. So I flexed everything now, they are automatically forced to be inline elements. All right. And one other thing also, you see that the highest element dictates the height of all the boxes. So the heading one is the highest element here, so all the boxes automatically takes up the same height, because of the parent has display flex. It automatically forces every element to have the same height as the highest element. So assuming the hedge one now, let's say the hedge one has let's give it a font size of, let's say, 60 px. So automatically all other elements also will have the same height that it occupies by default, but it doesn't change their contents. All right, so with that out of the way, we can apply display flex now to elements. Now, what we are trying to, an example we are trying to replicate is in this picture here. Okay, so this is a picture from a Figma design. This is just a style guide from a Figma design. So the goal is to have this element, something like this. Now we have the color here, we have the title of the color, the value of the color for this one, all of this, we have it here. All right, so the goal is to replicate something like this in the HTML and have it to be exactly in this way. Now, there are many ways you can achieve this, right? You can use tables to achieve this. You can use, but we're not going to use tables. We're going to use Flexbox. We're going to use basic stuff and try things out, right? So I've not written this code somewhere to copy and paste, so we'll do it by ourselves now. We'll do it together and learn along the line. All right, so we're going to do the whole of this now, and we learn at the same time. Okay, so when you look at this, what is the first thing that comes to your mind since we're going to use Flexbox? When I look at this, one thing I see in my mind's eye is I see okay, I didn't ask you to rotate. So what I see in my mind's eye is just I see boxes. I see the whole of this as a box, the whole of this first color now together with this text as one box, another box for the black, another box for the gray, and so on and so forth. All right, so let's get back to our code. We're going to remove the, or should we leave it? Okay, let's leave the border that we added. We'll come back to it, we'll remove it later, but let's get to our body. Let's remove the style we added to the body, remove the elements inside it, and get to business. So we're going to be using more of divs here inside this body. Now, I'm seeing each of these things as boxes, right? So I can put them all as separate divs. So this is, let's just call it, okay, we're going to use the color. How do I do this now? Okay, so let me put this by the side so that I can just copy the color as the names inside it. For now, we'll flesh it out as time goes on. We will flesh everything out as time goes on. So we have D87, D4A. Okay, that's the first box. So the second box we have 101010. Okay, the next box we have F1, F1, F1. Then we have FA, FA, FA. Okay. Then the next one we have FB, AF, 85. Then we have FF, 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 which is white. And then we have which is black. Okay, so these are the 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. These are the 7 boxes that we have in this design now. All right, so we'll flesh it out gradually until we have what we want. Now we have these boxes. Let me go back to full screen. Okay, so going to the browser and refreshing the page. So this is what we have. All right, so we have the first blue line is the HTML. The second line is the body. The next one is for each of the divs that we just added now. They have their own separate spaces. All right, now in the design, each of the boxes have a section that has color and a section that has text. All right, so let's do something like that also. So for each of the divs, let's say for instance this one now, right, we have another div that has color, and then we have, let's just call it another div too, that has the text. So each of the boxes is going to have a place for color and a place for text, right? Okay, so let's flesh that out, and then the same thing applies for each of them. So let me just copy, let me move the color. So let me move the color out so that we can just have access to copy the color and paste when we need to copy the color. All right. I just commented the code out for now. Just pretend that this code doesn't exist here. All right. I just commented it out so we can just copy and paste whenever we need it. Okay. All right. So we're going to have something like this for each of the boxes. Place that has the color and place that has the text. So let's just do it for each of them. Okay, so we're going to have a place with text and a place with color. All right, now what color is this box going to be? Each of the boxes is going to have their own color, so we're going to use an inline. Let's use inline for each of them. Give it a background color, color of the color. So the first one has the color of this. Okay, we have this. Okay, let's see what we have there. Right, we have the color there. The same thing for each of them. Each of them has their own color. The color box. Let's just get straight to that. They have their own individual colors. We pick this color. Just copy it. F1 will go. After F1 we have FA, then we have FB, then we have FB, not that FB, FF, and then we have 0, 0, 0, 0. So we have the first one, D, 1, 0, 0, F1, F1. Okay, let me just copy back from where it's supposed to be. Then FA. Okay, with that copied, I can now remove this one I commented out. I don't need it anymore. Okay, so we have this right here now. Okay, let's see what we have on the screen. Okay, this one doesn't have its color. Let's see what happened. Oh, okay, it has its color, but the color is close to the background color of our entire document, so that's why it's not showing. What do we do to that now? Okay, first of all, let's comment out this our border box, then we'll put it back later to see what we have. Okay, so we have it as this. Okay, so this is what we have. We have the color boxes and then the text boxes for each of the divs. Now, this is the basic skeleton of everything. All right. Okay, so we're going to create some styles. Let's say color. Let's call it. Let's say color box. Okay, so we're going to give the color box a particular height. Let's say height of 50px. Okay, so we're going to apply color box on all these color boxes. So let's say class of color box. Okay, we're going to apply it on all the color boxes. Okay, so the color boxes have a height now of 50px each of them. We won't worry about the width because we're going to use Flexbox for that part. All right, so since we want all of these things to be on the same line, all these boxes to be on the same line, we have to wrap each of these. We have to wrap all the boxes inside one div that is going to have a container of flex. So let's create that div. Let's say we have a div here, and we have to close it here. So don't forget to format. If you right click and format, you see the main structure. So this div is the parent div of all these divs that we have. So this parent div now, let's give it a style. Let's call it display of what? Display flex. All right, so let's see what we have. All right, so display flex automatically forces all the elements to do what? To come on the same line. Okay, so because of that, everything now looks jam-packed together. So let's give the color boxes a particular width, since it doesn't give us what we want at the moment. So let's say 150px. Let's see what we have. So let's increase the height to 100 and the width to 200. Let's see. Okay, that's still good. All right, so we have height of 100, width of 200. Now you discover that because of how it is, it's now exceeds the space that we have here. It now shoots beyond. It's now longer than this. Okay, because everything is now flexed. Now one thing we can do is we can apply a flex wrap on the parent element, so that once the items gets to the ending, it automatically push the next ones down. So let's refresh and see. Okay, so once it gets here and there is no more space, it pushes the next element down. Okay, all right, let's go back to our design and see what we have. So between the colors there is some kind of space between the colors. There's some space between. So let's say 20px of padding, of maybe right padding. Okay, let's see. Let's add something to the color box. So the color box, it's not really the color box that needs that. Is the one that contains both the color and this that needs that particular padding we want to add now. So let's call it let's call it box for lack of words. Let's call it box. So let's give it a padding of what? Padding of 20, and let it be, is it padding or margin? Let's give it margin. No, padding is the space inside, so let's give it a margin, a right margin for that matter. Let's give it a right margin, margin right of 20px, and then we're going to apply it to each of these divs that are inside the parent div. So class of box, we want to apply it on this, on this, on this, on this, on this, and then on this. So we have it here now, class of box. So let's see what we have in the screen. Okay, we have some spaces, but it seems to be really small. Okay, so let's just increase it a little bit. Let's make it 30. Let's see. Okay, it is a little bit spaced now. Now it seems that the boxes are together. Like this particular box now is very close to this one now. So we're going to add a margin bottom to this to push this ones a little bit down. All right, so let's see something like inside the same box. Let's give it a margin bottom of 20. Let's see how 20px is going to look. 20px. Let's see how it's going to look. Okay, it looks not so bad, but let's increase it. Let's increase the margin right here to 40, then this one to 30. We are just trying out things to see what works fine. So we have something like this now already fleshing out, and looking at our design, we have this. Okay, so our design has something like each of the boxes have like a radius, a border radius on it. So let's apply border radius to the color box. So the color box has a border radius of, let's say, 20 px. Let's see what we have for that. Okay, we have something like that, something like it's curved right now. Okay, we have the curve, and we don't need even this color keyword that we added in the color inside the color text boxes. So we can remove the color keywords. You know, I don't think we need this, so let me target each of them, then remove the color so that we can have a plainer display. Okay, so we have our box with the text inside it. All right, so with this now, I'm going to bring back our general border to see what we have generally. Okay, beautiful. Now see what we have here. So we have, see this box, there's a box around each of these. So the text is on its own box, is in its own box, the color is in its own box, and then we have this box that contains this color and the text. The same thing for this one too, color text inside the one box, and then each of them now are wrapped into one giant box. Now see this space here, the space at this extreme right is because this next element cannot enter here, so automatically it pushes down because of the display, because of the flex wrap that we added. All right, so let me resize my screen. Let me take it back to let me see. Okay, so as I expand the screen, so that the boxes, you know, move into position, because as more space by default, since it is flex wrap, it will push everything down because there is no space. So as I'm expanding and there is more space, it is bringing them back to enter in the space that has been created. Okay, so that is it about the flex wrap. It automatically adjusts the element when needed. So let's go back to the default browser. So this is what we have here now. We have this, and they are all inside this box. All right, so the next thing we need to tackle, I think we've already gotten most of the designs. The next thing to tackle is this particular, is the text. This hex, RGB, HSL, this. Now we're going to look at that in the next video, you know, but in this video, just try to grab the fact that you can nest elements inside each other to give you something like this. All right, so we'll come back to this text area in the next video. So see you in the next video.